HBO dropped a nearly 2-minute trailer, packed to the absolute grim with details. And I watched it frame by frame, so you don't have to. There are things hidden in this trailer that 90% of people completely missed on their first watch.
I'm going to break down every single second of this trailer, scene by scene, detail by detail, and confirmation that the show has already fixed one of the original film's most talked about mistakes.
This is the full breakdown. Every Easter egg, every hidden clue, every secret the HBO Harry Potter trailer doesn't want casual viewers to notice. Let's get into it. Section 1. The cupboard, the drawings, and the first hidden detail. Okay, first thing, look at the cupboard. Now I know what you're thinking. Yeah, it's the cupboard under the stairs. We've seen this before, but look closer. There is a can of turtle wax sitting on that shelf. Harry is 10 years old. He doesn't own turtle wax. This space is still being used for Dursley storage. He is sharing his bedroom with cleaning products.
That is not an accident. That is the production team telling you in one single shot exactly how the Dursleys see Harry. He is not even worth the full cupboard, but Harry has made his mark in there. And this is where it gets really interesting.
There are drawings on the wall. A penguin. A beach postcard. Representing anywhere but here. And then, a flying motorbike. A 10-year-old boy who has never been told anything about his parents has drawn a flying motorbike on his wall. Do you know whose motorbike that is? That is Sirius Black's enchanted motorbike. The exact vehicle Hagrid used to carry baby Harry away from Godric's Hollow on the night his parents were murdered. Harry has never consciously seen it. He has no memory of that night, but somewhere deep in his mind, it's there. He drew it. The show is telling us that Harry's connection to his past is running underneath everything, even when he has no idea it exists. That is not a random drawing. That is a first episode Easter egg for Prisoner of Azkaban. And we're 30 seconds into the trailer. Section 2. Petunia's scissors and the scene the films never showed. This scene right here, I genuinely could not believe they put this in the trailer. This moment does not exist anywhere in the 2001 film.
Not even as a background detail. It's in the books as a brief flashback. Petunia, fed up with Harry's hair magically growing back after every trip to the barber, takes kitchen scissors and cuts it almost to the scalp, leaves just the fringe to cover the scar. That's the book version. One sentence. But look at how the HBO series uses it. Petunia isn't just cutting his hair. She is staring him dead in the eyes. She holds those scissors inches from his face.
And she tells him, "There is nothing special about you." This is psychological. This is a level of cruelty the films never portrayed. Film Petunia was petty and dismissive. This Petunia is vindictive. She wants Harry to believe it. And by the way, she's blonde now. In the books, Petunia is described as thin and blonde, with an unusually long neck. The 2001 film completely ignored that. The new show has gone back to the source material and corrected it from day one. Small detail. Huge signal about what kind of adaptation this is going to be. Section 3. Muggle School. The Underground and a Dumbledore Easter egg. From Chapter 1, Harry's Muggle School. Before we even get to Hogwarts, before the letters, before Diagon Alley, before any of it, the trailer does something the 2001 film never bothered to do. It shows us Harry at his Muggle primary school, and it is not a happy place. We see Dudley's gang grab Harry and pin him against the wall, Dudley right in his face. Big D and his crew doing what they do every single day, making Harry's life as small and miserable as possible. This is the world Harry lives in, before magic saves him. Not just the cupboard, not just Petunia with the scissors. Every single day at school as well. Now here is what makes this scene so clever. The show is setting up a parallel that is going to pay off the moment Harry arrives at Hogwarts. Because when Draco Malfoy approaches him for the first time, with Crabbe and Doyle flanking him on either side, it is the exact same formation, the exact same power move. New school, different bully. Same scenario. Harry Potter escapes one world of cruelty only to walk straight into another one. And by showing us the Muggle School version first, the show makes that Hogwarts moment land twice as hard. This is also where we get our first real look at Harry's scar, on camera, right as Petunia's voiceover insists he is a normal boy who needs to start acting like one. The timing is not an accident. The scar appears on screen at the exact moment someone is trying to convince both Harry and us that there is nothing extraordinary about him. It is the show winking at the audience before Harry even knows there is anything to wink about. And one more thing about the school scene. The books describe a moment where Harry is being chased by Dudley's gang and suddenly finds himself sitting on the school roof with no idea how he got there. He was trying to jump behind some bins and just ended up on the chimney. Accidental magic. The trailer appears to be staging the chase that leads directly to that moment. We do not see the roof, but we see the run. And if the show includes the rooftop scene, it will be the first time we have ever seen Harry perform magic before he knows magic exists. The London Underground, a Dumbledore Easter egg from Chapter 1. Here is the one that made my jaw drop, and I am almost certain most people missed it completely. Harry and Hagrid are on the London Underground. Look at the wall behind Hagrid. There is a map of the tube. Now, why does a map of the London Underground matter in a Harry Potter trailer? Because in Chapter 1 of Philosopher's Stone, the very first chapter of the entire series, Dumbledore says this to McGonagall. He says he has a scar on his knee in the exact shape of a perfect map of the London Underground. That line has nothing to do with the plot. It's never followed up on. It's just Dumbledore being Dumbledore. But the production team remembered it, and they hid it in the background of this scene as a quiet nod to every single person who has read that book. If you spotted that on your first watch, drop it in the comments, because I want to know how many of you caught it. The train window, foreshadowing the mirror of Eriside. But there's something even more layered in this same scene. Harry is staring at his reflection in the underground train window. His face is half in shadow. He's looking at nothing but his own lonely image. This is a deliberate setup for one of the most powerful moments in the entire first book. The mirror of Eriside. The mirror that shows you your heart's deepest desire. When Harry looks into it, he sees his family, his parents. In the books, multiple generations of Potters and Evans relatives, all surrounding him. The show is using Harry's reflection on that dark train window to plant the theme of longing 6 scenes before it pays off. That is not lazy filmmaking. That is a show that knows exactly what it's doing. Section 4. King's Cross. The shot that tells the whole story. This might be the most carefully composed shot in the entire trailer, and it tells you everything about who Harry is in about 4 seconds. Harry is on his side of the glass, dark, alone, no one around him. On the other side of the glass, Ron Weasley, being hugged by his mum, warm lighting, a loving family, everything bright and good. Harry doesn't have that. Harry has never had that. And the framing makes you feel it in your chest, without a single word of dialogue. Now look at the wall in the background. There are 2 arrows pointing in opposite directions. In one direction, the life you had. In the other direction, the life you're moving toward. I don't know if that was intentional production design or a happy accident, but it doesn't matter because it works perfectly. Ginny Weasley, hiding in plain sight. When the camera cuts to the reverse angle of this shot, we get our first look at Ginny Weasley, played by Gracie Cochran. She's standing quietly in the background of the Weasley goodbye. She and Harry are in the same frame before they've even spoken a single word to each other. For book readers who know exactly where their story ends up, that framing is going to hit different. Section Green Eyes, and the correction we've waited 24 years for. I need everyone to look at this shot. Harry Potter has green eyes. Harry Potter has green eyes. I know, but after 24 years, let me have this moment. This is one of the most talked about details in the entire history of the Harry Potter fandom. Daniel Radcliffe could not wear green contact lenses due to eye sensitivity, so the films quietly dropped it entirely. Despite the fact that the books mention Harry's bright green eyes, his mother's eyes, in basically every other chapter for the first 3 books. The HBO series has fixed it. First close-up, right there. Green eyes. They knew we'd notice. I think they wanted us to notice. And here's why it matters. Beyond just accuracy, Snape's entire emotional arc in this series is built around Harry having Lily's eyes. Every time Snape looks at Harry with that complicated mix of hatred and grief, the green eyes are the reason. If the eyes are wrong, The payoff is weaker. They are not getting that wrong this time.
Real quick, if you are the kind of person who watches a Harry Potter trailer and immediately wants to know what frame 47 is referencing from chapter 3 of the first book, you are my people.
Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, because I am going deep on every single piece of content this show drops between now and Christmas 2026, okay? Back to the Easter eggs, because we haven't even gotten to Quidditch yet. Section 6, Quidditch. This one flew under the radar for most people. No pun intended. Look at the colors on the opposing team. That is not Slytherin. Those are Hufflepuff colors.
The HBO series is showing us a Gryffindor versus Hufflepuff Quidditch match. Why does that matter? Because in the 2001 film, we only see one Quidditch match, Gryffindor versus Slytherin, the one where Harry catches the snitch with his mouth.
Great scene. But it cuts out something huge. In the books, there are 2 Quidditch matches in year 1. The first is against Slytherin, where Quirrell is secretly trying to curse Harry's broom. The second is against Hufflepuff, and this is the match where Snape is the referee. The Hufflepuff match is how the book builds its central red herring, because Harry, Ron, and Hermione already suspect Snape. And now here he is, officiating their game, watching Harry wand in hand. And of course they think he's about to try something again. Including this match means the show is doing the mystery properly. They are giving new viewers every possible reason to suspect Snape before the real answer hits them in the face. The brooms. No footrests, book fans. You will appreciate this. The brooms in the HBO series have no footrests. The original films added footrests to the brooms, which had absolutely no basis in the books and drove a significant number of people genuinely insane. Gone. Fixed. The brooms now look much closer to the chapter illustrations in the original books. Flat cut at the bristle end. Sleek. Aerodynamic. It's a small thing, but it's the kind of small thing that tells you the people making this show actually read the source material. Cedric Diggory. A likely cameo. Keep your eyes on the Hufflepuff team. There is one player who looks notably older and taller than everyone else. The framing on this character feels deliberate, like the camera wants you to notice him. That could very easily be a first glimpse of Cedric Diggory, which means the show might be planting him 3 full years before Goblet of Fire. If you know what happens to Cedric, that framing is heartbreaking in retrospect. Section 7. The Snowball Fight, and Voldemort's most undignified moment. This scene looks like pure fun. Kids throwing snowballs. But it contains one of the greatest sneaky jokes in the entire series. In the books, Fred and George Weasley bewitch snowballs during Christmas break and enchant them to follow Professor Quirrell around and repeatedly hit him on the back of his turban. It is presented as a prank, classic Fred and George. Except on the back of that turban is Voldemort's face. The Dark Lord himself, the most feared wizard alive, spent Christmas getting repeatedly pelted in the face with magically guided snowballs by 2 teenagers, and he couldn't do a single thing about it. Fred and George Weasley hit Voldemort in the face with snowballs and never knew it. That is the book, and the show is including the snowball fight, which means there is a very good chance we are getting this exact scene. The shadowed figure. Is that Quirrell? Here is something worth noting. Quirrell does not appear anywhere in this trailer. Not once. For the primary villain's host body throughout the entire first story, that is a very deliberate absence. But in the snowball fight scene, a shadowed figure passes briefly through the edge of the frame. We don't see a face, we don't get a name, it's there, and then it's gone. That could be Quirrell. And if it is, the show is hiding him in plain sight, in the exact scene that jokes about Voldemort hiding in plain sight. That would be a deeply clever piece of visual storytelling. Section 8. Snape, the invisibility cloak, and the Lumos scene. Snape appears twice in this trailer, once in the background of the Quidditch pitch. We've covered that. But the second scene is much more interesting. He's shown casting Lumos at night. Look at the way the shot is framed. The image has a slight visual distortion, almost like you're looking through something transparent that's slightly warping the light. That is Harry's invisibility cloak. You are watching this scene from underneath Harry's invisibility cloak. This is almost certainly the scene where Harry, using the cloak for the first time on Christmas night, sneaks into the restricted section of the library. He nearly gets caught by multiple teachers, including Snape and Filch, and has to hide in a classroom where he accidentally discovers the Mirror of Iriside. The show is not just including this moment. It is putting you inside Harry's perspective. You are under the cloak with him. That is a choice that turns a description in a book into genuine first-person tension. Section 9. Dumbledore's tuning fork and the biggest mystery in the trailer. Alright, this is the one that no one can figure out, and I love it. John Lithgow's Dumbledore appears in one shot. He is wearing a very unusual hat, and he is holding what appears to be a tuning fork. A tuning fork, not a wand. A tuning fork. This object does not appear anywhere in the books. So what is it? What is Dumbledore doing with it? Where is he? Here are the leading theories. Theory 1. He is below the trapdoor, and he is using music to put Fluffy the three-headed dog to sleep. In the books, Fluffy can be calmed by music. The trio uses a harp they find already playing. Dumbledore arriving with a tuning fork to produce the same effect would be completely consistent with the logic of the scene. This is a visual payoff on one of the most famous lines in the series. At the start of Term Feast, Dumbledore says, "Music, a magic beyond all we do here." What if the tuning fork is the show making that line literal? What if it's an instrument of actual magical power in this version of the story? Theory 3. The hat he's wearing suggests he has just returned from the Ministry of Magic, which would place this scene during the climax of the story, when Quirrell lures Dumbledore away from Hogwarts. And whatever the fork does, it might be how Dumbledore arrives in time to save Harry. We genuinely don't know, and I love that we don't know. The show is already hiding things in plain sight, and it hasn't even premiered yet. Section 10. The fireplace scene and Ron's friendship. I want to talk about this scene because it's one sentence in the books, one sentence, and the show has committed to it fully. In Philosopher's Stone, Rowling writes that Harry, Ron, and Hermione sat by the hour, eating food they toasted on long forks over the fire. Bread, muffins, marshmallows, and plotting ways to get Malfoy expelled. That's it. One sentence. No chapter built around it. No big plot relevance. Just three kids being friends. And the HBO series has recreated it. Look at what's on the fire. That giant block that Ron is scooping from with a long stick. That is the marshmallow. They have visualized the marshmallow. They have given the marshmallow its own prop. Here's why this matters beyond the fun detail. One of the most consistent criticisms of the original films is that Ron's friendship with Harry never felt as real or as important as it does in the books. The films made Ron the comic relief. They cut his best moments. By Deathly Hallows Part 1, he felt almost expendable. The HBO series, in its very first trailer, is already correcting that. Between the train scene, the candy fight, and this fireplace moment, you can already feel a genuine friendship forming. It feels messy and warm and real. That is what the books feel like. What's deliberately not in the trailer, and why? Before we wrap up, I want to talk about what HBO chose not to show us, because the absences here are just as deliberate as the inclusions. Voldemort, not shown, not named, not referenced. If you had never heard of Harry Potter and watched this trailer, you would have zero idea that there is a villain in this story. That is a very specific choice to preserve the Quirrell mystery for new viewers. Quirrell himself, entirely absent. One shattered figure. That's it. The primary antagonist of the entire first season is being kept completely hidden. The full exterior of Hogwarts Castle, we never get a wide shot. The boat ride across the lake, not shown. That reveal is being saved. It is going to be a moment when it lands. Fluffy the three-headed dog, the trapdoor, the logic puzzles underneath, Norbert the dragon, the forbidden forest, the centaurs, the unicorn, all absent. Everything below the surface is being protected. What that tells me is that whoever cut this trailer understands what the story is, the mystery, the discovery, the feeling of not knowing what's behind the next door. They are not giving that away for views. That is restraint. That is confidence. And combined with everything we have already seen, I think that is a very, very good sign. So, where does that leave us? This trailer is not the trailer of a production that is cashing in on nostalgia. This is a trailer made by people who read the books, who understood them, who are doing the work of building a version of this story that actually earns it. Harry has green eyes. Petunia is blonde and genuinely frightening.
The Hufflepuff Quidditch match is in. Ron has a personality. The invisibility cloak is being used as a camera angle. And somewhere in this show, Fred and George Weasley are about to hit Voldemort in the face with snowballs. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone premieres Christmas 2026 on HBO Max, and I will be here for every single frame of it.
If you caught any Easter eggs I missed, drop them in the comments right now. I read every single one, and I will do a follow-up video on the best ones you find. If you're new here, and this is the kind of content you want more of, subscribe. Hit the bell. We are going to be deep in this world for the next several years, and I want you here for all of it. Until next time, it does not do to dwell on dreams, but this we get to look forward to. See you in the next one.